Citation is an important part of research. Citations, sometimes called references, allow us to show our work, identifying what we are citing as evidence and what is our original work. Citations give credit to the creators of ideas we use and help us avoid plagiarizing others. Citations also help your readers track down the sources you've used, either to check that you're accurately representing the source and the author's ideas, or to learn more about a topic. You can do this too. Check out the bibliographies of sources you like to see if any of that author's sources will work for you, too. There are two main types of citations you'll need to be familiar with. In-text citations appear in the body of your paper as information in parentheses or a foot or endnote. Every time you present borrowed information in your paper, it should be accompanied by an in-text citation. This flags the idea as borrowed and gives your reader enough information about the source to track down the full citation in the list of bibliographic citations at the end of your paper. Bibliographic citations are longer citations that give you all the information you need to find a source. You need one bibliographic citation per source used, regardless of how many times you cite the source in your paper. Bibliographic citations appear in a section at the end of your paper. APA titles this section References, MLA titles it Works Cited, and Chicago titles it Bibliography. This section should begin on a new page and follow the style guidelines for whichever citation style you are using. There are a handful of different citation styles, and each style has its own rules for in-text citations, bibliographic citations, and formatting. No one expects you to memorize all of the rules associated with a citation style, but you will need to remember where to find the resources you need. To cite any source, follow these steps. Step 1. Identify the publication type of the source you want to cite. Step 2. Find an example citation for the publication type of your source in the citation style you're using. Step 3. Plug the information from your source into the format shown by the example. Step 4. Double-check the formatting of your citation. Let's cite The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness by Michelle Alexander in MLA 8th edition together. You're welcome to open the source and follow along as we go. Step 1. Identify the publication type of the source you want to cite. The New Jim Crow is a book. I might know this because I physically have it in my hand, and it's a collection of pages bound into a single volume. Or I might be looking at it online, as you probably are, and can see the traditional title and copyright pages that tell me I'm looking at a book. It's also a lot longer than I would expect from an article. Step 2. Find an example citation for the publication type of your source in the citation style you are using. I've identified my source as a book, and I know that I need to cite my source in MLA 8th edition, so I'm going to find an example citation for a book in MLA 8th edition. The library has an MLA 8th edition citation handout with a book example, or you can find example citations from reputable online resources like the OWL at Purdue. Here's the example citation. Authors, period, book title, colon and subtitle, period, publisher, comma, publication year, period. Bailey, comma, Tim, S, period, comma, Stewart, McPherson, and Alastair Robertson, period. Carnivorous Plants of Britain and Ireland, colon, a retrospective study, period. Redfern Natural History Productions, comma, 2016, period. Step 3. Plug the information from your source into the format shown by the example. Okay, so I'm going to put the pieces of information about my source into the order outlined in the example. The author comes first. I can see from the example that the author's name is inverted, so that the last name comes first, followed by a comma and the author's first name. So, Alexander, comma, Michelle, period. Then I list the book's title. The example includes a subtitle, and I have one of those here, so I know how to handle it. I'm going to separate the title and the subtitle with a colon, and I'm going to end it all with a period. I'm also going to italicize the title, as in the example. MLA calls for titles to be in title case, which means all but the connecting words like in and the should be capitalized. So we have The New Jim Crow, colon, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. Next comes the publisher. I have to look at the copyright page that usually follows the title page to find this information. The publisher is the New Press, which we're going to follow with a comma. Finally, I need to include the publication year and finish it all off with a period. I have multiple copyright dates, so I'm going to do my best to choose the date that corresponds with the version I'm looking at and citing. Since a copy published in 2010 wouldn't include a later date than that, I know I need to use 2012 as the publication date and end my citation with a period. Step 4. Double-check the formatting of your citation. Now, I'll want to double-check my citation against my handout for any picky style rules or mistakes I could have made. Commas follow the author's last name and the publisher, but all other punctuation after each element should be periods in MLA. I already inverted my author's name for alphabetizing, and my title is in title case, as MLA dictates. Finally, I'm going to double-space my citation and give it a hanging indent. Ta-da! If you're citing other sources, make sure they are in alphabetical order in your document and title the page Works Cited. If this is your only source, the page should be titled Works Cited, singular. When you've done it a few times, completing this process should take you less time than listening to these instructions. The only way to get better at citing your sources is to jump in and do it. So, use the link below this video, or Grafton's Gladys search, to find the article Why Peer Crowds Matter, Incorporating Youth Subcultures and Values in Health Education Campaigns by Megan Moran, Matthew Walker, Tesfa Alexander, Jeffrey Jordan, and Dana Wagner, and cite it in APA style. Use the steps we talked about before. Pause this video now and play it when you're finished citing and ready to see the full citation. Step 1. Identify the publication type of the source you want to cite. This source is an academic journal article. I can tell because at 8 pages, it's shorter than any book. The publication information tells me that it's published as part of an ongoing series or periodical, and the lack of pictures or videos and the scholarly names and language tell me that it's an academic journal article, not a newspaper or magazine article. Step 2. Find an example citation for the publication type of your source in the citation style you are using. Here's the example citation from the library website for a journal article in APA. Authors, period, open parentheses, publication year, close parentheses, period, article title, period, journal title, in italics, comma, volume number, open parentheses, issue number, close parentheses, comma, page numbers, period, DOI. Step 3. Plug the information from your source into the format shown by the example. Okay, so our authors come first. We're going to list the authors in the order they appear, with the last name first, use a comma, and then supply the author's first, and if provided, middle initials. Use a period after each initial, a comma between authors except the last two, which we also connect with an ampersand. Moran, comma, M, period, B, period, comma, Walker, comma, M, period, W, period, comma, Alexander, comma, T, period, N, period, comma, Jordan, comma, J, period, W, period, ampersand, Wagner, comma, D, period, E, period. Then, in parentheses, include the year of publication, which here is 2017. Type the full title next and end that with a period. Why Peer Crowds Matter, colon, Incorporating Youth Subcultures and Values in Health Education Campaigns. Then, we need the name of the journal that published this article, and we're going to italicize this. The American Journal of Public Health, comma. Type a comma, then the volume, and if you have one, an issue number in parentheses, and then the page range of the article. 107, open parentheses 3, close parentheses, comma, 389-395, period. You're looking at an electronic version of this article, but printed articles are bound together with other articles in the same issue, which is why an 8-page article has numbers like 395. Okay, last bit. This final piece of information can be a bit variable. If you're citing a print article, you won't include anything here. If your electronic journal article has a DOI, you'll include that. If you don't have a DOI, look for a stable URL in your database. Step 4. Double-check the formatting of your citation. Let's do one final check for APA's picky rules. In APA, we don't type out authors' full first names. We're already using the initials. In APA, titles should be in sentence case. This is different from MLA, which asked you to use title case, where most words are capitalized. Here, we're only going to capitalize the first letter of the first word of the title and subtitle and any proper nouns. Double check that you don't have any stray spaces or punctuation, and then format your citation as double-spaced and with a hanging indent. If you stick to these steps, you can cite most sources. There are situations where citations can get more complicated, and reference librarians are happy to help you with any citations that are giving you trouble.